welcome today. Okay, so today is something with apples, so I'm going to show it to you. Ah! My spoon's going to fall off.
It's an Apple Betty. She asked me like literally 10 seconds before the episode started. She's like, what is it called? Apple Betty. We sit down. What's it called? Apple Betty.
We made an apple crisp of sorts, which is similar to an Apple Betty.
It is an Apple Betty. This
Whatever.
is an Apple Betty.
So
but
here's
she
what
just
you do.
added pecans and some other weirdness.
Here's what you do, okay?
I bet you it's going to taste
Actually,
them though.
if you really want the recipe, you comment below, and then I expect a picture of it if I give you the recipe.
Only thing that she didn't put in here that it needed, she won't be able to tell, but I can tell, is salt.
I did put salt.
Not enough.
Anyway, so if you really want the recipe, I'll give it to you. Free and clear.
It's pretty good.
But
Darn good.
you have to promise that you're going to send me pictures of it after you've made it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we could have put like some ginger and cinnamon essential oils in there.
Well, I did put pumpkin spice in it. Anyway, so.
It's really good with the pecans, by the way.
I know, if you get a bite, the pecans, it's really good.
So Apple Betty Day was like a week ago. And it's
Imagine
just
that.
like, it's similar to an apple pie. It's like an apple crisp, apple pie betweener type of weirdness. I don't know, something like that. Oh, okay, apparently I'm looking it up.
No, I don't care about, we're done. We've moved past the Apple Betty. What
Oh.
other days are we celebrating today?
Hold on.
Curry? Did you say something about curry?
No.
My sister
That would
loves
be
curry.
Yeah. She made something with curry today.
National Curry Day. That would be cool though, yeah, because she
Mhm.
did make something with curry.
It was on Thursday, October the 5th.
What, Curry Day?
No, National Apple Betty.
Oh, Apple Betty Day. Okay.
This day is dedicated to the American dessert made from fruit, more specifically apple, and sweetened crumbs. So, basically...
Sweetened crumbs. See, we got it right.
I told you it was an Apple Betty.
Oops, it fell down. See it?
So another thing that's today... I'm
we're
not gonna
celebrating
lie,
today.
That we're celebrating today. That I'm not gonna lie. It was more than a week ago. Since this particular day was celebrated nationally. Now that doesn't mean that because I've kept pretty good within the whole week long thing, but this one is on
Centurion's Day.
Friday, September the 22nd. It's National Centenarians Day, and it's
Which is somebody that lives
National
100 years
Centenarians
old.
is celebrated annually on September 22nd, honors those who are 100 years of age or older. Now, we're not that age, but we've loved some people that are 100 years old. Or
I like to talk to people that are that age because it's like,
they knew what it was like in 1917. It's like as old as my piano, my mom's piano.
no, they didn't. They were not even 1 year old if they were 100. I mean, unless they're 104 or 5, and then they might remember like bits and pieces here and there. You have to be like 10 and older for it to actually, but still 1927?
It's crazy.
I don't know. Think of all the things that they saw happen. Cars, radios, TV, movies, CDs, the internet,
And if they
Cassette,
remember all that
VHS,
stuff,
VCR.
man, so we wanted to give them a shout out because they're awesome. I mean, if you live to be 100 years old, you're awesome.
Pretty
And
much.
then another thing that we're celebrating today is Research Administrators Day. And the reason that I was just like, yeah, we have to celebrate that is because I kind of wasn't a research administrator, and I just wanted to read the description. Was it before or after? It was probably after, huh? Well, so basically a research administrator, a lot of the time,
Here's what I do. I go to Google and I say, Research Administration Day, and then I can get to it faster than you.
Go ahead. because I still bet you. Oh, I beat you. Monday, September 25th. So this was also more than a week ago. So it says National Research Administrator Day is observed annually on September the 25th in recognition of the ways in which administrators at universities, medical or research institutions, and federal, private, or non-profit organizations contribute to the research community.
September 25th is also our nephew's birthday.
True story. Which one? Just kidding. Yes, it's true. I knew which.
Oh, okay.
I was just kidding.
Bozo.
That's
as bad as it gets with
numbers.
us.
Birthdays, especially dates. Yeah.
Once again, I'm finished, and she has taken like 3 bites.
Not because I was looking for stuff, but I have to tell this part of the story because she's never been a research administrator. I wasn't.
You're right.
Okay. I was a field researcher, and so I would go out and do research on fish because, we don't know a lot of things that there are to know about fish. We know a lot about fish, but there are things that we don't know too. And so, during the winter, I would go up, and it's like around 7,000 feet above sea level. And I would go up there, and I would open up a fish trap where we would trap the fish, and then I would net them out, and it was sometimes it would get 15 below, sometimes a little bit colder, and sometimes it would snow on me while that was happening, and so sometimes I would have to kick down shelves of ice that had built up, because in case you didn't know, water doesn't always freeze at freezing temperatures. If it's moving, it's not going to freeze. It can be freezing temperatures, and it still won't freeze. So I would kick down shelves of ice where it had built up, but where it was moving constantly, the water would never freeze. And so...
It's not that it never freezes, at least on top.
Well, on top it will freeze, but that's where the shells of ice came in. And so underneath, it was where because ice is like snow, it acts as the thermal layer, kind of traps heat so that nothing else freezes beneath. And so I would kick down the shelves of ice because in order to get in there, I would have to kick down the shelves of ice. So I would kick down the shelves of ice, and then the moving water would melt it away because moving water is not going to freeze. And then I would net out fish. And then I would pit tag them, and then I would do a bunch of data collection and stuff like that. And then I would take the data, and I would do the data entry.
I hope you all are more interested in this crap than I am.
So
take the data and blah-de-blah-de-blah.
And so
I'm sorry, I love you.
I mean, we've learned a lot of stuff about fish, but yeah, it's hard to do, and you kill some fish.
Yeah, and
I'm
cold
not gonna lie.
too.
Yeah, and it was cold.
I like being cold.
And so you would wear waders, and waders, if they're not super warm. It's like, because the water still feels as cold as it does. It's just that you're not wet. It's just like, oh well, I'm not wet. I'm still freezing to death, but I'm not wet. So yay. So I would just be like, I'm not wearing waders because I'll just jump in bare feet, and then, it'll be cold, and then when I get out, then I'll be dry. And I won't have to put on waders and, make myself colder because of that. Because they would kind of freeze and stuff like that. So, so then I would input the data, and then I would, and then other people would analyze the data. But it's cold work, and so shout out to all you research administrators, because I was kind of one of you guys. I was more like a field worker, research administrator, whatever thing. But shout out to all you guys, because it's hard work. It's harder work than people think.
There's more that goes into a lot of things than people think.
And if you're just sitting at a desk and just doing like the strictly research administrator portion, still a shout out to you, because that is boring stuff.
Like making these episodes, when we first started, I didn't think it would. I thought it was going to be like, here, let's sit down and talk about our lives and da da da. And it would, but we spend a good 3 hours. Yeah, we spend a good 3 hours making 3 episodes for 10-minute or 13-minute episodes. And so there's a lot more that goes behind most things than we think, including the research crap.
Yeah, and like even the people that just strictly.
And I like fish, so I'm willing to be like, hey, good job. Shout out to you. Don't tell me about it.
Well, and there are research assistant administrators that just strictly stick to the office. Hey, kudos to you.
Sounds even more boring.
Yeah, because that's just like, typing in all this information, yippee-ki-yay, and I'm all like, yeah, that ain't me. I'm just like, I will put in data every
I wear
once
glasses,
in a while.
by the way, just so you know. So I'm just messing around with the glasses gesture. I'm like this.
She has glasses, but she just doesn't wear them.
I haven't worn them for like 4 years because no,
she's a bum.
my face can't handle them. Like I put them on, and then after like an hour, I'm like, I can't handle these. Take them
Looks
off,
pretty cute though.
rub my face, and then leave them. Forget about them for 2 hours. Put them back on for 45 minutes. Take them off for 3 hours. It's like my eyes were getting confused. I think I never got headaches.
You didn't actually see the apple, Betty. I have a little bit left in my bowl. I'll show it to you.
Yes, I did. I
Oh,
showed
you
it to him twice.
Well, what up? What up?
Tell us your experiences with research, or with your experiences with having to listen to research besides the one you just experienced. And
don't
tell
hate
us
on people
about
if they, in their research, they accidentally kill a couple fish. Or whatever animal.
they're trying to preserve the other ones.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it doesn't matter what. Even if they weren't man-made structures, fish or other creatures would still die. Like, they still die in nature. And out of 3,000 eggs that hatch out, there's like 1 per every 1,000 that live past the year. So you're like, oh yes, every single female trout has 3,000 eggs inside of her. So 3 fish of hers will survive. And that's how it is. And so I'm just like, I killed, like 10 fish today that are like this big. They wouldn't have lived anyway. So I got over it. I'm sorry. I felt bad, but I was just like, oh, poor fish, poor little guy. But I was just like, still knowing that I was trying to help preserve the later ones, number 1, and number 2, that it probably would have died anyway.
Tell us about your favorite
Plus
apple
it
dessert.
helps biomass in the river. You're like, well, it'll feed the other fishes.
Thank you for watching.
Tell us everything you want. Comment, whatever you feel. Send us, especially pictures, post pictures. Comment, like, share with friends.
Subscribe.
And we love you, and may adventures be in your cards.